and welcome to the Screen Team. We've got an awesome show for you. We've got Jake here with us for this first segment. And Jake, we're doing a lot of epic movies this week. We're going to be doing the new Batman versus Superman film.
Yeah.
Are you big into comic book movies at all?
It depends on the movie.
Yeah.
I was really big fan of the Christopher Nolan Batman series, the Dark Knight series, and I guess the first Spider-Man movie way back when I was still in high school. I liked that one. But comic book Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, was, I think, pretty close to a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. So, but as far as epic movies go, I love epics.
Well, we're going to be doing that one coming up after this one. We're going to be doing Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. But this first one is kind of like, I don't want to say the king of epics, but definitely an epic movie that has definitely inspired many epics, of our generation. And the film we're talking about is The Seven Samurai, which was directed and edited and produced, and pretty much everything was done by Akira Kurosawa. And this film is really something special.
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if it's in my top 10 or any of my lists or anything, but I love this movie. I saw it for the first time several years ago, and then watching it again, I remember why I loved it so much. It's a great story. I really don't think having to read subtitles takes away from it at all. At least it doesn't for me, because the translation is basic enough in English, but it still is. It's not just really basic. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's to the point.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're saying a whole lot more, but it's very direct. But you also get the emotion behind it.
So, what's the basic story of this? I mean, it's a pretty simple story. We've got a group of villagers who are going through some tough times, right?
Yes, it's a story that many westerns have used, and just a lot of different movies have used. The primitive village of farmers, or whatever they are expecting an attack from bandits. Mm-hmm. The bandits said, "Oh no, that barley's not ripe. We're not coming back until it's ripe." So some of the villagers, they send out a party to go out to the nearest town and try to wrangle up some samurai that'll work cheap, that'll work for just being fed, and they end up with quite a great cast of noble samurai and one crazy guy, 6 noble samurai, and one very crazy guy who wants to be a samurai.
We were talking about, inspiration and stuff like that. I don't know if it was, but, when you were talking about the barley and stuff like that, you know what this movie reminds me of? Bug's Life. You ever seen Bug's Life?
Bug's Life, a direct descendant. Three Amigos is pretty daggum close.
Really?
If you follow the plot line of, the outline of Three Amigos and Seven Samurai, they're pretty close. Three Amigos they just do it in a really funny.
That's awesome.
They do it in a funny way, in a very condensed version of the story.
Yeah.
But the style of the shooting, I think a lot of the spaghetti westerns of the 60s and 70s, a lot of the Clint Eastwood's, where he kind of grabbed hold with the Man with No Name series, I think are directly inspired by this movie. And there is a direct Western interpretation with Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Magnificent Seven it's pretty much the Americanized Western version of this film. From what I understand and what I've read, that Kurosawa used the Seven Samurai, they all have different kind of personalities, and they're all based on, I think, old samurais of their beliefs. You've got a funny one, you've got the leader, you've got a mentor, you've got a student, you've got all these different different personalities that come together to help save this village.
You definitely have the ObiWan character. I cannot remember their names. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. Kikachu, which is he's the crazy guy who turned, not to really spoil anything, but he's the one who says he's a samurai, but everybody knows, just looking at him, he's not a samurai, never came from that heritage.
But he's the guy that you like, right?
He's my favorite character in the movie because he's the most dynamic character.
Yeah.
And it seems like at times he's kind of the shapeshifter. It's at times he's out for just himself. At other times he's out for just adventure and glory. And then other times he's just he's going to give it up for what he believes in.
Yeah.
And he carries that really comically large sword that was made special for the movie. The rest of them, I think, are more traditional samurai swords. You've got him. You've got the very silent kind of gunslinger samurai character.
That's my favorite. I like that guy.
That guy's really cool. He's really doesn't say much in the movie. He just lets his actions speak, and he doesn't brag on himself or anything. You've got the ObiWan character, who is the mentor taking on the Padawan, for lack of a better word. And then you've got there's 3 of them that are a little less, memorable.
Yeah.
You've got one, he's kind of the funny guy, but he's also the seasoned warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got one that they found who was just earning a living chopping wood. And
That's right. That's right. I forgot what was going on, but the one that I like, the samurai I like, they're like, okay, we need to go over into enemy lines and get something. I forgot what they were supposed to get, and he's like, I got this, and he just goes. Comes back, he's like, here you go, and and he goes and sits down.
And see you in the morning. I think he was going after one of the muskets or something.
That's
like
what
that.
it was.
The bandits had a few muskets, and he was going to go grab one to help even the odds.
And I love it. He's like, by the way, I took care of 3 other guys, so mark that down. I thought that was kind of cool. I think the only thing that I would say against this film, and it might just have to do with the time period that it was shot, was the acting. I thought the acting was a little overdone. Your favorite character, he's like bipolar because he just goes whoop, and then when he gets excited, you tell he is excited, or it just. I thought there was a little bit too much overacting in this film, and I don't know if it was the time period, if it was the culture, or what it was, but I thought the acting could have been better.
Yeah, there's a little bit of melodrama and things like that, but I also think it's kind of a dual-edged sword. It might be a negative for people of our generation watching it now, but think of 1954. Kurosawa wanted this to be an international film, so the overacting really brought back to where having to read subtitles takes away, without having to do an English dub, which an English dub of this movie, I don't think it should ever be dubbed in English. It probably has. Someone on the internet's probably done an English translation of this movie.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You can never tell. But I think that overacting really helped broaden the audience to many cultures and many languages.
Who do you think would like this film, of our listeners and viewers out there right now? Do you think an older generation would like it? Do you think some folks your age would like this film, or is it just, do you think mainly just people who really like cinema and movies? Who do you think would like this film?
I think it definitely would appeal to the cinema buff, because I mean, you're going to see so many tropes that you've seen played out in films in the decades past.
Yeah.
And to this day, you'll see themes. I mean, you're going to see influences for George Lucas got influence from this movie for Star Wars, for some of the characters, of course, and you're going to see, of course, the Western influence, which that's always the first time I watch it. I'm like, this is a Western.
Yeah.
This movie is a Western. And a lot of people say Star Wars is a Western in space.
True.
So
very true.
I don't know, younger kids, I don't know if they'll quite be able to hold on to it. An older generation for sure. But if you're a fan of Westerns, I really think you'd like this movie.
So let me ask you something. What drew you to this picture when you first saw it? What made you want to see it?
Well, I don't know, late teens or early 20s, I think, when I got interested in seeing some of Kurosawa's movie. I still haven't seen the Hidden Fortress, which is one I really want to see.
Yeah.
But this one was available to rent, my local rental store, so I'm just like, you know what, Kurosawa, I'll give you a try. And
cool.
I watched this movie, and I sat through the whole thing. And it's a long movie.
It's almost 4 hours long. It's definitely a long movie. When we say epic, it's definitely epic.
But it had me hooked.
Yeah. All right, man. It's called The Seven Samurai, and of course, you can find it on DVD in all your local video stores. Coming up after the break, Sabrina's going to join us, and we're going to be doing Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. I always forget which one it is, but it's Part 2, and it's coming at you next right here on KWOC.